So, hello everybody. Welcome to another episode. I'm here with my good friend Keiko. Keiko, I want you to introduce yourself first. Brief background of who you are, what you're doing, para lang alam nila sinikausap ko.
Hello, I'm Keiko. I am a mom of one. I have a son. He's 10 years old. And he's also on the spectrum. But he's high functioning. I'll tell you more about that later. Single mom to a 9-year-old. I have a son. Been good friends with Nico for a very, very, very long time. So I'm so happy to hear from you.
What do you do for work? Share mo rin.
I am Without mentioning what company it is,
Okay.
I am a digital marketing manager. Technically, I'm in marketing. Let's just put it at that, without
Okay.
saying specific. I
So,
am in marketing. It's digital, it's for events, it's basically for like everything marketing.
okay. So just so everyone knows, ever since I've known Keiko, she's been busy working even when we were in school. Sobrang
Am I really that workaholic?
sobrang independent ni Keiko. So Keiko, okay, let's
Oh
start.
man.
I want you to share your life story na like what I said is impactful to others.
Mm.
Share your journey as a mother. What happened? I want you to be the one to share kung ano yung mga naging journey mo throughout it.
I always wanted to like, if I were to tell a story
Mhm.
about how my life went and if it could like help other women,
Mhm.
yeah, hopefully the same age. Because if I were to start, um, I had Kalyan young. Like, actually, that's a little bit okay. In your 20s, is probably the perfect time for you to have a kid, ish, quote unquote. Um, 2015. Callian was born in 2015, so I had him when I was like 23, 24,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I was already in a long-term relationship with the dad.
Okay.
Not married to him yet, but we were already in a long-term relationship with each other. Tagal na rin.
Yeah.
Um, but I always tell this to a lot of my friends who are about to get married. Like,
Mhm.
the most important advice that I could ever tell them is that when you get married, you keep courting your husband, keep courting your wife. Because when you get married, when you're in a very long term relationship, let's say 5 years kinda, right? I always ask them, are you the same person you were when you were in high school?
Yeah.
Can you say that you're the same person you were when you were in high school?
Ako,
Are you the same person you are
no.
now?
No.
No,
Of course
exactly.
not.
Are you the same person you are now when you were in college?
No, of course
No,
not.
of course not. Right? We
Yeah, yeah,
evolve, we change. So
yeah,
same thing goes for when we're in a relationship.
yeah.
The courting stage, right? You're
Mhm.
not yet boyfriend and girlfriend. You're just getting to know each other. That's the first phase.
Yeah,
Then the second one would be you guys would become boyfriend and girlfriend.
yeah,
That's another stage.
yeah,
And then after that, you become long-term relationship, 5 years, become fiance with each other. That's another phase. And
yeah.
then you become husband and wife.
Mhm.
That's another stage. And then you become mom and dad. That's also a different stage. And in every stage of that relationship, the both of you are two different people every single time. So the both of you are technically dating different people every single time. But the
Okay.
problem is what happens in most relationships is that you stop pursuing each other. That's what happens. You
Okay,
just kind of
yes.
become live in mates, roommates because
Complacent.
you no longer try. Yeah, you're too complacent. Like, I'm always with him anyway. She's always with me anyway. Why try? But
Mhm.
that's one thing people forget, that you need to keep courting each other because we are not the same people we were in the different stages of our relationship. So you gotta keep trying.
Yeah.
That's the advice that I always give. Um, that's the advice that I always give my friends who are about to get married.
Okay.
Like, you becoming husband and wife, you guys are different. you don't have a kid, it becomes different. You become mom and dad. That's another thing. There's another person in the mix. So all the more that the both of you will have to make the extra effort
Yeah.
to be with each other, to to romanticize the relationship. You gotta keep working, just like friendship.
Yeah.
You
True.
gotta keep working on each other so that it
True.
lasts forever.
True.
But there are friendships na parang you're not gonna talk to each other for a whole year, but then you're gonna talk na parang you just saw each other yesterday. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's different. Okay. So I say this. Where am I going with that? So I say that because that's exactly where my relationship ended. I ended a 9-year relationship with the father of my son,
Mm-hmm.
even though I could say that it was the picture perfect everything. It's what probably every woman would want. A
Okay.
husband, a partner who provides for you. You don't have to work anymore. You literally just at home. That's what I was doing. I
Mm-hmm.
was home. I was just home. I was given the opportunity and the chance to stay home and be a full-time mom and be there for my kid. I
Yeah.
was given that chance. He bought the house. He had it made from scratch. He got me a car. I had an allowance every month. Again, picture perfect life for every fucking woman.
Okay.
That's what
So
every woman wants.
what went wrong?
Right? Right? What went wrong? Right?
What went wrong?
Exactly. So it's not, you know, after all of that, even though I was with the perfect crowd, I kind of had the perfect husband. I say husband because we've been together for more than 5 years and we've been living each with each other for like 9 years already.
Okay.
The only thing missing is that to put it in a contract. If we were to legalize the union, it would have been approved because we were
Yeah.
living with each other for more than 5 years.
Yeah.
So that's why I always say like it's practically my husband, but not legally.
Yeah.
So what went wrong? Like picture perfect relation. I not say picture perfect relationship, but picture perfect setting.
Oh,
This is
yeah.
what
Yeah.
every woman was after back in the day. I
Yes.
don't want to work. I just want to be a home stay at home wife, take care of my kid. I'm given allowance like every month. I have my own car. I didn't even buy my car. Like your life is set pretty much. And you live in a house that was built for you. And it was in the suburbs, all the way in New Valley pa. So it was like
Okay.
wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I was like a Stepford wife. It was
Yeah.
crazy. But the thing is, that's what I felt like. I felt like a Stepford wife.
Okay.
Um, but what happened was that even with everything that was given to me, the relationship was not okay. Um, I mentioned about the keep courting your wife
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
because the my ex or the father of my son stopped trying. And at some point in the relationship, when my son was born, his demeanor changed. So that was very weird to me. So I started living in a house where I felt like I was walking on eggshells.
Okay.
Everything that I was doing was wrong. Everything that I was doing right was still wrong. I was getting nitpicked at. There was pretty much nothing nice. I felt locked in my own home. I felt like I was walking on eggshells. Nobody was on my side. I'm sure every mom has felt this. The moment the baby was born, everyone was like, "Baby, where's the baby? Where's the baby?" Like, forget about the mom. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
where's the child? I just want to see the kid. So it's like, at some point, what husbands do not understand or what men do not understand, when women become mothers, um our identity is absolutely stripped away from us.
Okay.
Nothing, gone. People forget that we were humans first, and they just remember that you are the mother of Kalyan and that's all you are. The moment that you are not beside your kid or you start doing something that's just for you, people are going to be like, "Where's Kalyan?" I'm like, "What do you mean where's Kalyan? He's with the dad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's his job. His job is not to babysit. He is the father.
Mm-hmm.
So, your kid can be with the father. So it's always like, where's Callian? What are you doing? Why aren't you home? Like, what do you mean? I'm not chained to the house. So I was going through postpartum depression kasi during that time.
Okay.
It was really hard. I had no inkling as to what was happening.
Mhm.
I was as confused as everyone else was. I remember an aunt of mine, a tita of mine, asked me if I was okay. I could read between the lines of how she was asking me, like, "How are you? Are you okay?
Mhm.
Is like, is everything okay?" Like I just gave birth,
Yeah.
so like I wasn't sure what she meant by "Are you okay?" Like, parang something was supposed to go wrong the moment that I give birth. That's what I
Mhm.
didn't understand. I have a feeling that's what she was actually trying to ask me. When you give birth, you're supposed to be happy and everything. Like, oh, you have a little Mexican bean in your arms. He's absolutely cute, but
Yeah.
no, hell no. That one thing that no woman, no mom, nobody has ever prepared me for was postpartum depression. Is absolutely freaking insane. Like I feel crazy. I felt crazy. It wasn't helping that you don't have sleep. Your body is a mess. You just gave birth. You're not exactly fat. You're not exactly fit. You're just there. You just gave
Yeah.
birth. You're absolutely confused with your nutrition. Like everything is just going crazy. And then there's this sudden hit of sadness.
Mhm.
Like that's what it feels like. I don't
Yeah.
want to trigger you. Um, like you just think of like you're just having one sad moment, just
Yeah.
one thing makes you sad. It triggers just
Yeah.
one thing, that little thing. It's not even a big thing.
Yeah.
Nobody died. Like, but that one little sad thing creates an avalanche
Yeah. I
of
understand.
sadness. And then it just drags you all the way. Like, it drags you. Then the thing is, one of the things I'm my traits, or I don't know if it's a skill or something, but I'm just very self-aware. And I knew that was happening. I
Mhm.
was aware that was what was happening. But I didn't understand why it was happening. Na parang the moment that I feel sadness, like tuloy-tuloy na siya, it's just downhill from there. And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck to do. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I'm just miserable and sad. And then at some point, I was going towards being a bit alcoholic
Okay.
because I was drinking every chance I got. It's not because I like the taste. I just like the feeling of like floating a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
Parang
that's a
numb
feeling
ka
that
eh.
I
Numb.
like. In a way na parang kasi when you're drinking, you're kind of just happy,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
that's what I wanted. I just wanted to float, and you're not really feeling everything. You feel something, but not everything.
Mhm.
Like, so that's why I was almost borderline alcoholic. But at some point, nobody saved me. Nobody had to save me. I didn't have to go to therapy. Even my husband was absolutely fucking useless. He's one of those people who don't really believe in depression.
Mhm.
Um, so it's like, okay, what am I gonna do with this then? So it's like I'm on my own. So I'm taking care of a baby. He's always at work. I'm kind of just dealing with myself, and like I'm just trying to go through every day with dealing with it. Like it's not every day. It doesn't happen every day. But you kind of just have to deal with it. So at one point, we've already moved all the way to the south. We've already moved to Nuvali. I was a little scared because I'm like, I won't be able to like meet friends casually.
Yeah.
I have to plan the whole thing because it's still an hour and a half drive from the city. Like I actually have to plan to come back to the city and go
Yeah.
back home. So I was worried about that because I'll be completely isolated because the whole place is suburbs. It's basically the suburbs.
Yeah.
Again, I felt like a Stepford wife.
Yeah.
But I moved there eventually, and at some point, I told myself, you know what? I am really tired of being sad. That's it.
Mhm.
It's not as easy as it sounds because it still took years to like get out of that funk. So I just got tired of being sad. I tried making my own business. I started baking.
Mhm.
Remember alcoholic cupcakes? So I started doing alcoholic cupcakes, but my venue wasn't really for it because I was all the way in the valley. Maybe if
Yeah.
I was in the city, it would have worked out. But instead of consuming all the alcohol that I bought, I put it all in the cupcake. So that was one way of like shifting the tide of depression, was trying to do something about it because honestly I was super tired. I was like, you know what? I am so sick of being sad.
Mhm.
So it's like I have to do something about it. So I don't know if I started doing research, but how I understood it was like I lack happy hormones.
Yes.
So I needed to do something that gave me happy hormones.
Yes.
Um, so I started working out more. I was running more. I was going up the mountains more. Like I started doing more things for myself to make myself happy. And I honestly can say that it helped.
That's good.
It really helped. But the moment that I started doing something for myself that was for my sanity, for my mental health, to make me feel better, was when the relationship started getting worse with the partner
Yes.
because he has a different upbringing, which I'm not allowed to say, like in a different country. I'm doing it right now. I'm making excuses for his disrespectful behavior. I'm making excuses for his disrespectful behavior. Like this is your partner, this is your spouse. Doesn't matter what you do, you're not supposed to disrespect your spouse. You're not supposed to belittle them. I just gave birth to your kid. I gave up my chance to have to go up a career ladder during that time. I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
I was in my 20s. That's your chance to work,
Yeah.
to like hustle and grind,
Yeah.
like to go up the ladder. But that was a risk. Giving everything up, stopping everything for even just 3 years was a risk. Like, but I gave it all up. Like to be a mom. Again, it wasn't just my decision. It was both of our decision. Like, okay, I want to stay home first. But like consider na man all the things that I did also. Like
Mhm.
I may not be working in corporate and I may not be making the money to do it, but this is all free fucking labor, bro.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even have a yaya. It's like there were days I don't have a yaya, I don't have a maid. So I was like, yeah, I'm okay not having a yaya, not having a maid. I can totally do it. Like kaya for sure. I can take care of my son on my own, hands down, even when I'm working right now. But there was no acknowledgement. There was no appreciation. There was just depreciation. There's just was so full of criticism. At one point, I will never forget this. Like, there was one moment na I'm alone at home. I was actually working already. I
Oh.
looked for a remote job. So what I do is I do in the morning, I cook breakfast for my kid, for each other, and then we eat, and then I make him go play, and then I'm just there. We're just in the living room together. So I can still keep an eye on him. And I'm working in the dining table and he's there in the living room. So it's like we're still together, but I'm working. So for me to make use of my time properly, I don't really wash everything. I don't wash everything right away because
Mhm.
washing the dishes takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
So that I have time to work through in the morning, I kind of just leave it there first. I rinse it, I make sure it's still clean, but I leave it there. And at the end of the day, when I'm done working, that's the only time that I clean it. And then one time he goes home, sees that there's still dishes in the sink, and calls me, wala ka talagang kwenta, no? Like, your son's alive, as he's fed, by the way. Thank you very much. So, I will never forget those words. It's hard to
Yeah.
forget
Yeah.
words like that because it's like, you just got home from work. Like,
Yeah.
okay, maybe you're stressed, but, I have things happening here too.
Yeah.
Like, hello. So I will never forget that. So everything's been nitpicked. So that's the situation what happened at home. And it's always been like that. Um like either I just kind of avoid him. I try to not do anything to piss him off. It's a good day and a bad day for him. It's like again it's on and off. That's why I was walking on eggshells. So it's like, okay, I'm working again. I'm slowly doing stuff that I want to do. And the more that I do that, the more hateful he's becoming. So I'm like, I'm gonna start to take that as a sign that it's time to go. But it wasn't that easy because it took a really long time um for me to actually have the courage to leave.
Yeah.
Like it's hard. It's not that easy. It's not that easy to just say that, hey, I'm just gonna go up and leave.
Yeah.
I've never been on my own since I was a kid. Like it was either I was living with my mom, and then right after being with my mom, my parents' house, I moved in with him. So I've never like had a situation where I am on my own.
Yeah.
So I only learned to be on my own now that I had a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to relearn everything. Like I had to relearn everything. It was really, really fucking scary.
Yeah.
But um, so that's basically what happened. How can you say this without escalating anything? I made excuses for this man for his behavior,
Yeah.
but it took at least 2 years for me to realize that what was happening in the house was abuse. He
Yeah.
didn't need to hit me for me to know that it was abuse. He
Yeah.
did not hit me at all, but
Okay.
it was emotional and it was mental abuse. And I always, when I tell the story to my friends, I always tell them like, you know, sana he just kicked me. It's like I would have preferred if he just kicked me or punched me in the face. It would have made things a lot faster. Because when you tell somebody abusive, they don't really take it seriously.
Yeah.
Like it sounds like a joke. So I think it would have been better and faster if he had just hit me. I would have made all of my plans a little faster, but it was a game of cat and mouse. When it I can't explain how fucked up my head got because of the abuse.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what gaslighting was until I left that relationship. It's like when something I didn't really do anything wrong, but then he's gonna get mad at me for the thing that happened. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Or sometimes he'll get mad at me, and here I am thinking, I didn't do anything wrong. But he's still getting mad at me. Like, am I in the right or am I in the wrong? And then
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to simmer it in my head long enough to gaslight myself that, you know what, maybe it was my fault. And that went on for years. That
Yeah.
went on for years of me just thinking it in my head. I didn't have the solid friendships I used to have like I do right now. I
Yeah.
didn't have people to come to, people to help me clarify my head. I didn't have those back then. It's just now that in my late 30s that I found friendship. I found people that I can really call friends, to come to call to. But back in the day, wala talaga. It was nothing. So I kind of had to deal with all of those things on my own. It was a
Sorry,
little
sorry.
hard.
I will apologize first. Wala ako dun. I didn't talk to you then much. I
I
just
was
wanted to say
I
that.
mean, you guys were there. You
Yeah,
didn't
but you
have to
weren't
know what was going
sharing.
on. I didn't want because that's where the gaslighting comes from.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, is this something I should be sharing with my
Yeah.
friends?
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm over exaggerating it in my head because
Yeah.
I don't want it to blow out of proportion.
Yeah.
Na parang like maybe it's not as big as I think it is.
Yeah.
I get that this is it. That
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gaslighting
You're gaslight.
myself. Like
Exactly.
it took about actually parang now lang because I left my ex 4 years ago. 3 years ago.
Okay.
It took 2 to 3 years for my mindset to settle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know this is wrong. I'm not overthinking it. I'm pretty sure it's wrong.
Yeah.
Like, there's no, maybe I deserve it. Maybe I did deserve him screaming
Mm-hmm.
at me. Maybe I deserved him telling me na wala akong kwenta. Like, I tell myself those things is insane. So, gaslighting yourself. So, it lasted for a very long time. It wasn't just in the relationship. That whole relationship um translated to my relationship at work outside. Like if my boss scolded me out of nowhere, na parang it's not really my fault. I won't defend myself. I won't even stand my ground because
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna think that maybe it is actually my fault. I'll just accept it. Like
Yeah.
it's my
Yeah.
fault. It's my fault. Like ganon. Hindi, walang ganon. I would
Yeah.
not fight for myself. So I think it was, and I'm happy I'm out. It took years. It took a while for me to get out. Like I didn't have to wait for it to escalate so much. To share the experience how I got out. I was saving up already. I'm smart enough to do that. I was working. I was saving up enough to find a place to move to. My
Yeah.
problem was looking for a place to move to. Um it was so hard because it's like I'm just about to uproot this life that I'm super familiar with
Yeah.
and just move to a different place. On top of that, I had to rearrange my life because Kalian's been with me since he was born.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably the hardest part, to part ways with my son and do co-working schedule, co-parenting
Parenting.
schedules.
Yeah.
That was the hard part because I was with him every day. The only time that I was far away from him was just once a day, usually. Because
Okay.
I would go to a mountain, but it's just a mountain for a day and then I come back home. So
Yeah.
I've never been away from him more than 4 days, nothing longer than 1 week. And it was so hard the first time that I was going through it. I think that was the hardest part. I did not have the support of my parents. They sided with my ex.
Okay.
So I was all alone. It was really hard. My whole family, I was at that time, I was a little delulu. I wouldn't say delulu, more like I was trying to seek guidance.
Yeah. Okay.
Where I was trying to seek guidance was like these YouTube tarot card readers. Um, and you basically just listen to the readings that resonate with you. And one of the readings did tell me that um just go do what you're about to do. You're going to get the support that you need.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, so I was like, I thought I was gonna get the support of my family, but apparently not. So for those 3 years, for those first 3 years, I was on my own. I did not talk to my family for 3 years. I cut all ties with everybody. I was on my own. It did not matter. I didn't care. It's like I know what that man did. I wish you knew what he did. But I'm not gonna justify that. And he was, I don't know what was going on the other side, but obviously he was mouthing himself, just to justify that I'm wrong
Yeah.
and he's right. But I
Yeah.
did not need to do that. Like, I don't have the energy for that. Like, I won't even fucking bother. Like, you can go ahead and say what you want to say. I just here to live my life. But at this point, I had to reconnect with my family because my son needs his village.
Yeah.
So I did reconnect with them, but not for me. It is not for me. Up until now, who said I forgave them? I did not. You don't forgive something like that. Like, I'm your daughter. You're supposed to support me
Mm-hmm.
and you're supposed to back me up,
Mm-hmm.
not the father of my son. They're not even blood related.
Yeah.
So, mas kausap pa nila siya kaysa sa akin. I'm like, okay, okay, whatever. At, it hurt a lot, but also I know what I stood for. Um, it was only recently that I rekindled the relationship because Kalian needs his village. He
Yeah.
needs his family. So I reconnected with them for the sake of my son, not really for the sake of me. I can cut them off easy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need them, don't need financial support. I don't need anything. I'm totally fine on my own. Um, One thing I could, if I were to give advice to women, um, during that age, I was 23. I met him when I was in my 20s. When a girl is in her 20s, the only thing that we think about is, I want to have a boyfriend. I want to have a husband. Like, in your 20s, that's all you fucking think about. I want to have a life partner and stuff like that. You're basically romanticizing relationships during that time. It's okay to have a boyfriend. Go collect and select. That's what my mom used to say.
Yeah.
Collect and select. Do not settle, especially in your 20s. Do not settle in your 20s. Because from 20 to 29, we do not know who we are. We have no idea who we are. And I'm not even exaggerating when I say 20 to 29. We have no idea who we are. Like, we don't know what we want. We don't know who we want to be. We don't know who we want to be with, who we want to hang out with, what kind of person we want to mold ourselves. We don't know. Until the age of 30, we have no idea.
Yeah.
It was only till recently, I'm 34. It's only now that I realized what I want to be, who I want to be, and like what really makes me happy. I'm 34.
Yeah.
This is the only time. that you really do know what you want.
Yeah.
This is the perfect age to find your partner.
Yeah.
This is the no bullshit zone. Like, I'm already 34. I know what I want. If that is not what you can offer me as a partner, then go away. But in your 20s, this is why mostly older men go for younger, for 20s. Not that I'm bashing at older men, but because women in their 20s still don't know what they want.
Yeah.
And that's what they want. Like, I don't want a bossy girl. I want a timid, unsure girl, and I want to be the one to direct where she's about to go. I will tell her what to do in her life and stuff like that. And that's why most relationships break up when they reach 30. That's why most women in their 30s break up because suddenly we realize, I don't want this. This is not what I want. I don't want it anymore. That's it. Like, this is what I want now. I'm sure this is what I want. Our decisions in our 20s is not the same. The decisions that we want in our 20s is not the same as the decisions that we want in our 30s.
Mm-hmm.
Do not settle in your 20s. Don't. Maybe in your career, sige, yes. But that's not written in stone. But your relationship, that could be written in stone. Because you might get pregnant, you might get married. There's no divorce in the Philippines. So, that's it. That's it. Like, so I'm happier now. After it's been 4 years since I have moved out. Four
Nice.
years. Rekindled my relationship with my mother, not because for me,
Yeah.
but because for my son.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, adulting. Um,
Yes.
um, my head, my mindset of gaslighting myself is absolutely gone.
Nice. Okay.
Um, right? Not super depressed anymore. Like, it's absolutely gone. So it's actually been for the better. Absolutely chaotic in the first few years, but honestly, did things for the better.
You're in a good place now.
I hope so, yes. With better people, with better friends. I'm glad you're still here.
Of course. So yun, actually, thank you Keiko for sharing. Maubos na oras natin, so ayoko nang habaan pa to. Ang ganda ng story mo. I hope this message of Keiko reaches someone who's going through or might go through the same thing and catch it on earlier than what Keiko did and gaslit herself. It's not her fault. It happens. Thank you,
No
Keiko,
one taught
again.
us that.
Yeah, exactly. Wala pang gaslighting dati. So,
That we didn't know what that was. We didn't even know what depression was.
yeah,
We don't know what
yeah.
panic attacks were. We
Yes,
don't know what anxiety attacks were.
yes.
Like,
We weren't guided through it talaga. It just happened eh. We were hit by it and
right?
then we just had to adjust.
Yeah.
So yun, okay. Thanks Keiko for your time. I will talk to you again after this. We'll end the video here. Bye Keiko. Thank you.